Shawn Diddy Combs' sentencing to 50 months in federal prison immediately sparked a wave of shock and disbelief. For the public, the news seemed sudden, but those familiar with the inner workings of the criminal justice system recognized the complexity behind such a ruling. Michael Francesi, a former capo in the Colombo crime family who has spent years behind bars, shared insight into why Diddy's challenges are just beginning. According to Francesi, while lower security institutions may present minimal threats, higher security facilities can be far more dangerous for high-profile inmates, particularly when there is no apparent benefit they can provide to fellow prisoners. In Francesi's experience, Diddy's prominence and wealth could make him both a target and a resource. In medium-security institutions, however, the dynamic shifts. "Normally, nobody's looking to shank you," Francesi said. "He could actually become a benefit to other inmates, which may reduce potential threats." Despite the sensational headlines, Diddy's legal team managed to navigate a high-pressure situation effectively. The judge, weighing years of controversy, media attention, and emotional testimony from Diddy's family, ultimately sentenced him to just over 4 years, a term many experts believe could have been significantly harsher. Legal analysts note that Diddy's disappointment is natural, but Francesi suggests he should recognize that the sentence, factoring in time already served, is comparatively favorable. At the same time, Diddy must prepare for the reality of prison life, which is far removed from the world of fame and luxury he is accustomed to. The Bureau of Prisons will ultimately decide his facility placement, balancing security concerns with any recommendations from the judge. Low-security clubfed camps, often seen as more relaxed, are unlikely for Diddy due to his high-profile status. Francesi further emphasizes that Diddy's prison experience will depend less on the facility itself and more on how he conducts himself once inside. While programs exist to reduce sentences through participation in rehabilitation initiatives, such as drug treatment programs, eligibility and placement are not guaranteed. For Diddy, adapting to a stripped-down routine and managing interpersonal dynamics will be critical. What he faces behind bars, Francesi argues, may test him more profoundly than any courtroom ever could. For Shawn Diddy Combs, the transition from celebrity lifestyle to federal incarceration is not just a shift in daily routine, it's an entirely different reality. While some inmates might navigate the system with relative ease, high-profile figures like Diddy face unique risks. Francesi, drawing from years of first-hand experience, explained that medium-security prisons, where Diddy is most likely to be placed, typically offer a more controlled environment compared to maximum security facilities, but they still demand careful navigation of inmate relationships and social hierarchies. Unlike low-security club-fed camps, which have minimal barriers and more freedoms, medium-security facilities operate under stricter rules and closer supervision. Diddy's fame and wealth present a paradox. On one hand, his high-profile status can make him a target, especially in an environment where inmates may see connections to past conflicts or desire financial gain. On the other hand, Francesi notes that a celebrity with resources can also become a valuable ally to other inmates, potentially deterring violence. He could be a golden ticket for some people, Francesi said, explaining that Diddy's influence could transform potential enemies into allies, at least in their perception. However, Francesi also warns that the risks escalate in higher security prisons, where long-term inmates with nothing to gain might become more dangerous. The Bureau of Prisons has the ultimate authority over where Diddy will serve his sentence, though judges can make non-binding recommendations. Diddy's legal team has petitioned for placement at FCI Fort Dix, a low-security federal prison in New Jersey, known for its drug rehabilitation programs and family-friendly visitation policies. Programs like RDAP, the Residential Drug Abuse Program, can offer inmates sentence reductions of up to 18 months for participating in intensive treatment courses. Yet placement is not guaranteed, and prison life remains unpredictable, with issues like contraband, staff shortages, and gang dynamics complicating any attempt to control the environment. Francesi stresses that Diddy's ability to adapt and manage himself will ultimately determine his experience behind bars. The stark contrast between the public spotlight and the isolated, regimented life of prison can force reflection, discipline, and even personal growth. Yet, it also exposes vulnerabilities, especially for someone accustomed to control and admiration. Every interaction, from the yard to the dining hall, carries weight. Diddy's challenge will be balancing survival, reputation, and compliance within a system designed to strip away the comforts and privileges he has long enjoyed. Shawn Diddy Come's sentencing did more than dictate prison time. It laid bare the stark contrast between his public persona and private actions. Inside the Manhattan courtroom, video footage chronicling his life played for the judge and audience, revealing an emotional side as Diddy apologized to Cassie Ventura, acknowledging his behavior as shameful and sick. He expressed self-loathing and regret, claiming he had been stripped down to nothing. Yet many observers, including legal experts, questioned the sincerity of these apologies, pointing out that Diddy had appearances scheduled immediately after the sentencing, suggesting a gap between words and action. Former associates and insiders offered blunt assessments. Good Gene Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard, emphasized that he felt no sympathy for the mogul, citing past threats against his life and betrayals despite years of loyalty. For Deal, Diddy's public remorse could not erase the real harm done, including manipulative behavior and coercive control over individuals like Cassie Ventura. "I have no remorse for this dude," Deal said. "Karma is a mother. If it ever gets back to you when you've done people wrong, you will feel it." His perspective highlights a broader public sentiment. Celebrity status does not shield one from accountability, nor does wealth automatically equate to forgiveness. The defense team's approach also drew scrutiny. In attempting to mitigate the sentence, they presented an 11-minute video portraying Diddy as charitable, caring, and remorseful. Legal analysts argued that this strategy backfired. By emphasizing Diddy's achievements and charitable acts while downplaying the victim's experiences, the defense appeared tone-deaf. Only one lawyer acknowledged Cassie Ventura and other victims, suggesting consent and complicity, a claim that clashed with video evidence and eyewitness testimony of abuse. Critics argue that this misstep may have undermined the credibility of Diddy's legal team and diminished the judge's confidence in the sincerity of his remorse. The public reaction has been polarized. Some see the 4-year sentence as lenient, given the severity of the misconduct and the evidence of repeated abusive behavior. Others argue that the sentence strikes a balance between punishment and rehabilitation. Nevertheless, the courtroom proceedings revealed a tension between the narrative of celebrity privilege and the reality of personal accountability. For Diddy, these perceptions are more than abstract. They shape how fellow inmates, the media, and the general public will view him during and after his incarceration. As Shawn Diddy Come's faces the reality of incarceration, attention shifts to the potential for rehabilitation and the legal strategies shaping his future. His defense team has requested placement at FCI Fort Dix, a low-security federal facility in southern New Jersey. Fort Dix is known for its structured programs, particularly RDAP, the Residential Drug Abuse Program, an intensive 9-12-month course that can reduce sentences by up to a year. Participation in such programs offers Diddy a path towards self-improvement while serving his time, though eligibility and acceptance are not guaranteed. For someone with roughly 3 more years to serve, such programs could meaningfully impact his sentence duration. Despite the potential benefits, challenges remain. Security dynamics within federal prisons are complex, and Fort Dix is not without risks. Gang activity, contraband, and staffing shortages can create an unpredictable environment for even the most careful inmates. Furthermore, Diddy's fame and connections may make him a target of jealousy, resentment, or scrutiny from other inmates, particularly those with ties to past conflicts involving Tupac Shakur and the notorious Big Public Perception and historical controversies. add layers of tension that Diddy must navigate, reinforcing the importance of careful conduct and vigilance. Beyond prison walls, legal experts are considering the long-term implications of Diddy's sentencing and publicized behavior. Appeals for leniency, rehabilitation programs, and strategic facility placement aim to balance public accountability with opportunities for reform. The judge's non-binding recommendation can influence where Diddy serves his sentence, but the Bureau of Prisons has the final say, weighing security, proximity to family, and rehabilitation potential. This negotiation underscores the intersection of law, public opinion, and personal circumstances in high-profile cases. Ultimately, Diddy's future hinges on adaptation, accountability, and the choices he makes behind bars. The contrast between celebrity life and federal incarceration is stark. No red carpets, no boardrooms, only regimented routines, introspection, and interactions with a diverse inmate population. Life after prison will depend not only on serving his sentence, but also on the credibility of his rehabilitation efforts and public perception. For Diddy, the next chapter is uncertain, defined by both the consequences of past actions and the potential for personal transformation. How he navigates these challenges may determine whether he emerges merely as a cautionary tale or as someone who has genuinely changed.